Welcome home, racing fans. Well, I'm excited to take a look at this latest from Policar. This is their Modern F1. This is kind of like a generic Formula One car. It's a little bit more advanced than you think, but just in basic colors. I picked blue. Now there's a few things to talk about. This car really isn't ready to break out of the case and race, so let's take a closer look. Okay, so the first surprise to some folks is going to be that you've got a little bit of work ahead of you before this thing is ready to go. First of all, you'll notice all these parts, they are found underneath the case. So flip your case over, you'll see all these parts, and it's kind of a neat idea because you know, if you're going to paint this or decal it or work with it, then you're going to have to take all this stuff off of here. So why put it on there at all and make it harder to work with? So I think it's a neat idea to go ahead and have the pieces separate, so then you can decal or repaint however you want, and then you can put the pieces together. Now we have a guide. There's a file online that we have, that a link that you can go to that'll show you everything you need to know about putting the car together. But just remember, flip that case over and here's all your parts. So one of the first questions you might ask is, why do I have an extra chassis? Well, the answer is pretty simple, really. This chassis is basically an analog chassis. It has a design here for the barge board to go underneath, if I can line it up. And because of this design, the digital chips would not fit. So I haven't glued that in there, obviously. So that's what this is all about. This is the chassis that will accept the Type C, the multi-system slotted chip, or the Carrera D132 only chip. So if you're going to do digital, here it is. I'm not. I could care less. I'm analog all the way. But anyhow, this is why you have the chassis. Pretty simple. Another thing we'll address that Mr. Kennedy has already done very well is the front end. There's been some complaints about the front axle, and Mr. Ferrari conversed with me over it personally, and basically it's just a design flaw. He takes responsibility for it. The lower wishbone sort of interferes a little bit with the axle, not that much, and it's not that apparent on tracks like mine. A smooth track with flush rails or recessed rails, as you can see, you know, it's just barely touching. That's just absolutely perfect for me. But on track systems like Ninco with slightly raised rails, it could be an issue. Well, I mean, and I'm sure it is over in Europe where, you know, there's a lot more tracks, but none of the friends that I race with, you know, race it. We all race Wood or Carrera, so it's not that big of an issue. But he is addressing it, going to fix it. He's also talking about making a slightly prolonged pickup holder, a little bit stronger, and some different wire retainers to keep the wire between the nose and chassis. So there's further developments on this. He's not going to stop, because that's him. He's going to keep going until he gets it exactly perfect. So, you know what? Kudos to him. Okay, just me being me, I decided to try the other chassis. I don't need digital, so I just decided to swap it out. It's really easy. These wheels are twist and pull, plastic wheels. Just twist one end off, pull the axle out, remove these two screws. That assembly is out of there completely. You know, take your guide out. You have to. It's a pressure fit snap-in guide. Snap the guide out, and then on the underneath, you just remove this screw, this one, and these two, and the whole pod assembly comes out. You just put it right back together again. Just really simple. And with the new setup, I'm still touching the track. I mean, this is just perfect for me. So I'm happy. There is a lot of excess wire here. I'll go ahead and plug it back in and use the quick disconnect. But you know, you could trim this up and shorten it a little bit, but I'll just leave it as is. As far as the transmission goes, if you want to call it that, this is nothing new. We've seen this in the other F1 cars from Policar before. We've covered that extensively. This little reduction system works really well. Very reliable. I haven't had any failures. Nice and smooth. Needs a little lubrication, though, I can tell you that. So it is a little dry, so make sure you lubricate that. But as far as the motor goes, you know, 24,875 to 25,2 They vary. It's a very hot motor, mostly for my small track. I changed this out. I'm going to go ahead and swap the motor at a later date, but we're going to go ahead and do the road test with the stock motor. But this one benched out at 24,875 RPM. All right, time for assembly. There's been a lot of talk about the front wing, but you know, it's really not that big a deal. You can just you put your wing on here like this, you line it up, and then you have a little clip right here that presses in and holds it. Now, yes, you can use magnets. You can see here on the ends, you can use magnets in each pocket. We'll show you a graphic for that. But what I will tell you is this the paint that's on here, it's a little thick. I would go ahead and scrape off some of this paint and get that to fit just a little bit better. Just me, but those little dimples are covered with paint and they want to move around. And even if you use this clip, if you use a plastic clip, I'm going to use some adhesive there to keep that clip in place, because I could just see that going away and never finding it again. But all that'll be revealed in testing. Alright, so it only took a couple of minutes to put the driver and the cockpit together. Just really easy, very simple. Follow the directions that we have the link to, but it's not that hard. You can figure it out. And of course, I put the front wing on, and I did use some glue. Now I like using this UV glue. It's just the perfect for slot cars to me. So I added a little bit here and inside there to make sure that everything was secure. Then I mounted the rear wing, just pressure fit. I haven't put any glue on it at all. Now, one thing about the wires, I want to cover this while we have it out, is when the guide is turning, the wires can droop down and almost drag the track. And it's just something that bugs me. It gets close. So what I did was I added a little bit of adhesive right there on each side and here. So I made sure the wires were clean, had plenty of movement there, and now they don't droop down and drag the track. So now we're just about ready. Like I said, we're going to make sure this is fully lubricated, and we're going to talk about tires. Yeah, tires. Okay, so after testing a few tires, given this low ground clearance, my best suggestion is Paul Gauge 2216 6FF. These are a really good fit. They keep the diameter up there. Again, just be careful when you're sanding and truing. Don't go too far, because we're already pretty low the way it is. But these fit really well. The only thing I can tell you is when you are sanding is to and truing the tire is to go ahead and take an emery board, put it against here, and get rid of this inside sidewall. Kind of flush that out a little bit, because it's really, really close to rubbing on each side. But other than that, they're a great fit and they look good on the car. Okay, with our tires installed, time to take it for a run. I've done quite a few laps with this car, and I gotta tell you, it is just very smooth, very nice to drive. It's just fun, as it should be. I mean to tell you, I can see this being a huge hit with club racers wanting to decal, decorate them, stuff like that. Great little series. Smooth car. My opinion, very well done. Has a few issues we talked about, but he's going to address those, and I think it's something to invest in the future for those that like these types of cars. Just nice. So did a lot of laps. Started out a little slow, but did crack a 3673. That's not bad at all. So there you have it. At the end of the day, I don't have any real complaints. A few issues we talked about, they're going to address that, but just the way it is out of the box, just a little adjustment. Some good tires for the track of your choice. It's a great running car. So, well done, Policar and the team. I think it's a really nice slot car. Well done.